We're pleased that Paul has offered to bring a new presentation, which he has named The Multiverse of the Universe. I like that. Multiverse of the Universe. Ideas of origin, the mystery, and life. Paul will speak and play his xylophone and his tongue drum, known as a timpanatzli by the Aztecs, and an attempt to unravel the eternal questions of beginnings. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, John. Hi, everybody. It's a pleasure, as usual, to be able to entertain you all. And since Ali's meditation was on wildness, this is how I dissipate my wildness or control my wildness. It comes from wildness. And this is my latest composition, which I call A Torrent of Tongues.
Oh, there we go.
Oh.
Just because I kind of like to be relaxed for a subject of this nature. And I have been wondering how people might have thought of the term that I use, the multiverse of the universe. You know, maybe it's a bit associated with multiple dimensions or some sort of quantum aspect of reality. But in fact, the truth of it is that I selected that word to represent verses of sort of mystical and sort of profound and illuminating nature. And they are verses that I've chosen, that I have known for years and have collected together to try to explain the multiverse of the universe. You know, what do I know? Nothing. But when I read something that has a profound essence to it, then I like to utilize it to express this question of origin, mystery, and life. And, you know, I hope there aren't any scientists in the audience here, because I can't prove a damn word of what I'm saying. You know. The language is of an imaginative nature. It's ancient, and I have used some modern language as well. None of these verses that are part of this story are my own. But I'd like to start on this question of beginnings and origins of life and the universe and such. I'd like to begin before the beginning. Not that much can be said about that. However, using an ancient sacred text, they've thought about it before, and they've come up with stories to explain this. How the universe came into being from a non-being state and then multiplied. And this is nicely summarized in the myth of Brahman and Brahma. So I'd like to take you through those two myths. It's not that long, because that's the point that I'd like to start, the point of origin, as far back as I could possibly reach. These are from the Vedas, these words. Before the beginning was Brahman, the limitless one. Limitless to the east, limitless to the west, limitless to the north and south. Indeed, for him, north, south, east, west have no meaning, nor across, nor beyond, nor up or down. Incomprehensible is this supreme soul, unborn, unlimited, not to be reasoned about, unthinkable. He whose soul is space. Now, associated with this process is the next step, which is Brahma. And Brahma seems to come out of the space and produces some sort of life. This world was unknowable, without form, beyond reason or perception, as if utterly asleep. Then this august and self-existing entity, who had never unfolded the universe in the form of the great elements and others, and showed his energy. This being, subtle, without distinct parts, eternal, including in himself all creatures, appeared spontaneously. Now, wishing to draw different creatures from his body, he first, by thought, created the waters and deposited his seed into them. This seed became like a golden egg, brilliant, like the sun, from which he himself was born. Brahma, the first lord of all the worlds. So, sticking to the idea of origins, origin of this presentation, I got the idea from listening to a radio program, CBC of course, you know, what else is there? It was called In the Field. kind of feel as if we are all now in the field. And anyway, so this program was about stuff. That was the subject of the program, was stuff, people's stuff. Stuff forgotten, stuff to be reconsidered, stuff to be passed on, stuff to be shared. Physical stuff, mental stuff, all kinds of stuff. Photographs, particularly in this program, and who doesn't have, you know, pre-digital hard copy photographs stashed in boxes in attics and, you know, the backs of drawers, you know. And I'm not even a photographer, you know. I just, you know, now and again snap for pleasure or whatever. But anyway, something else that I have that's stashed in boxes that is associated with stuff is scribbled notes. You know, I've written from, you know, as far back as I can remember, and scribble notes, and sometimes they get transferred to little books to retain aspects of them. You know, and this presentation is, you know, is what happened in a little book at one time. But I thought that I would start, well, I guess I've already started the presentation, but start sharing the notes with you. And there are basically one note that's broken into four categories to follow our subject of origin, mystery, and life. And so those 4 points. The first one is, where did everything come from? We've partially answered that already with the creation method. The other question is, why do we exist? And then the next question, number 3, is, why does the universe exist? And then the last question is, why are we here? So I thought that I would answer these. That would be the
Thank you.
And it's all semantics, you know, tied together. So my first thought was, well, where did everything come from? That's the first question. So you can say God. Very trite and short-lived answer. Doesn't give us much of a presentation. And you know, we've wrestled with that word before. You know, not there's anything bad about it, but it has so much baggage associated with, you know, crusades and stuff like that. Stuff. So anyway, my personal favourite term is the luminosity. You know, which is from the Buddhist, you know, pure mind angle. But even that doesn't explain too much to us. It's merely a name. And I thought, well, let's look in the Bible, see what that says. And there was one line that stuck out that seemed to be pertinent to where did everything come from. And that was, and the earth was without form and was void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep.
On the face of the what?
The deep. Deep. So I thought, well, this is nice, but, you know, it's a nice way of saying something about nothing. It's clever, really, but it still doesn't get us very far on the track of needing more grist for the mill to find out where the universe, you know, came from. Yeah, okay, good. That's, yeah, of course, wonderful. But anyway, so I sought the knowledge of Gurdjieff. You know, you've all heard of George Ivanich Gurdjieff, Russian mystic. You know, around the 40s, 30s, 20s, 30s, 40s. And he said, this was what I picked out to kind of express the stuff of the universe. He said, from the absolute, The rays of creation travel outwards in all directions, unfolding all possible worlds. The great stellar nebula and galaxies beyond our Milky Way. The world of all of the suns. The world of our sun and its planets revolving. The world of our Earth and its moon. Everywhere is energy condensing into matter. Vibrations, frequencies, crossing each other, colliding with each other, opposing each other, unifying with each other. Vibrations. So, what is the absolute? That's where he thinks everything comes from. Well, before we unpack that a little bit more, I'd like to follow on Gurdjieff with an extract from The Secret Doctrine of Madame Blavatsky. She had something to say. She came from the same place, from the absolute. That's because they're both Kabbalists. Kabbalists they operate from a tree of life, which is a schemata of the cosmic emanations, and right at the top, from where everything comes from, is the origin of all things, and that is termed the absolute. But anyway, so she says, from the absolute, nucleoles, eternal and everlasting. Nuclei, periodical and finite. The light of eternity escaping therefrom. And from these ever-consolidating waves of light, downward formed the hierarchy of the creative forces. The invisible, the tangible, the lowest elemental, assuming form according to conditions. So that's what comes from The Secret Doctrine. So the absolute, you can find other terms for it. The divines, Nanda said, or pure being, or the unmanifest, or all that is. Inner space, which when released becomes outer space, and from that unity comes multiplicity, duality, whatever the word is. So that's as far as I'm going to take it with that first question of where everything came from. Take a breather from the heavy profundity. It's a job to know what to play. things. So the second question is, why do we exist? Well, I guess we might say that the divine, or the eternal, or the absolute, needed creative distraction. What else can we say? The eternal seed needed to be sown, and that is light. So at the core of life is light, nucleoles, eternal and everlasting. And they circulate in the field of creation, setting up vortexes and opposing forces and planes of existence. Taking on consciousness in their travels, taking on form in one sense or another, spiritual form, astral form, ethereal form, physical form, eventually. And we are drawn to the earth, to become involved in endless cycles of reincarnation, experience. We wanted a taste of the earth. That's why we exist. We wanted to learn what it was like to work and to play, to make friends, build houses, build a life in time. And so it goes, accumulating stuff as we accumulate identity from the stuff. Clothes, jewellery, toys, money, estates, power, fame, ideas, all kinds of stuff. To earth I come to greet the light. To earth we come, I should say, to greet the light, to greet the sun. The stones which rest, the plants which grow, the beasts which run. To greet all those who live and walk, and who work, and will love God in all. Then God greets me in all I do, and I and you in God are one. So next question. Maybe it needs a space in the middle. So the next question was, why does the universe exist? well, I thought maybe much of the same reasons as why we exist. Has to be something that we can construe, because Hermes the Ancient said, as above, so below, as below, so above, so we should be able to make some sort of correspondence between us and the universe. So one could say that stars form and have relationships with each other, and these relationships have a way of communicating with us down below. We could say that the stars communicate with each other. The whole universe is filled with pulsations. And we could say that the stars dance in the universe, just as we like to dance. But in any case, it's our home. We need somewhere to live. And the universe is seated just as we are seated. We are seated in the womb, and the universe is seated in space, just like a cottonwood seed that bursts open its bud and blows through the air, and the winds of change take it to germinate where it will. We develop and expand, the universe develops and expands. But as Lao Tzu said, that old sage 500 years before Christ, he apparently wrote the Tao Te Ching, or some people call it the Tao. He said, existence is beyond the power of words to define. Words may be used, but are none of them absolute. In the beginning of heaven and earth, there were no words. Words were born from the womb of matter. And whether a man or a woman dispassionately sees to the core of life, which I believe is what we're doing right now, or whether that man or woman sees passionately the surface, as we recognize the beauty of the world. The core and the surface are much the same, words only being used to express appearance. If words be needed, wonder names them both. From wonder into wonder, existence opens. So I think we're on the last question, number 4. Why are we here? In a word, desire. I think from the earliest moments of a newborn, must have been a desire to open the eyelids, a desire to move our body, desire to learn how to walk, explore our room, our yard, the world outside, the forests, the trees, the valleys, the lakes, the mountains. So, desire is why we're here. It brought us here. But we understand that we have to try to escape that wheel of incarnation in order to head back to the finer realms of existence, shall we say. So therefore we have to kill out desire. At least that's what Krishna advises if we are able, or if we are inclined to want to liberate ourselves from this chain of existence and suffering for some of us, of course. So, this is what Krishna said. One whose happiness is within, one who rejoices within, one who is active within, one who is illuminated within, then he is the perfect mystic, strengthening the senses. Sorry, that's completely the wrong word. Controlling the senses, the intellect, the mind. The transcendentalist is free from desire, from anger, and from fear. So now we know how to liberate ourselves. We just get down to it. But there's one thing else that I'd like to add in conclusion. One thing that is part of why we're here, which is the question. And that is love. And I've chosen a poem by Fyodor Dostoevsky. You may know that he suffered terribly at the hands of the Tsar because he wanted to help those more unfortunate than himself, because he's sort of married into some sort of station in life, but he cared for others, and he was tortured and put in jail. Finally, he must have got out, but he left this poem, and it's all the more powerful for the experiences that he's gone through. So he said, "Love all creation, all of it, and every grain of sand. Love every leaf, every ray of divine light. Love the animals, love the plants, love everything. If you love everything, you will perceive the divine mystery in all things. And the more you perceive it, the more you will comprehend it day by day. And you will at last come to love the whole world with an abiding, universal love. So that concludes my presentation. I'll just add one more flurry of tongues to patch everything up. What's it to be? Thank you. Well,
thank you. That was awesome. Really wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Storytelling.
Loved it.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is, storytelling.
Music and story. Yeah, it's lovely.
That expands the consciousness.
Tremendous. Tremendous.
Wonderful. Loved it.
Thank you so much.
Probably have a little time for questions, if you want to question the questions.
Pass the baskets, and I was going to ask you, where did you get the Dostoevsky quote?
Oh. I quite
I
forgot.
say
I have a sort of memento for
I love him. I can hardly pronounce it. Dostoevsky.
memento for everybody here. So
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Thank
good. I'm
you
glad
so
I
much.
there's that very quote that is inside it.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. That's so kind of you.
Yes, I was wondering.
Wow. That's awesome.
Get your stage
How
there.
long ago did you learn to play this instrument?
This one?
Yeah.
2009, I think I got it.
I love it.
Yeah, me too.
Wow, I want to get one.
Really?
Yes, sir,
Fantastic.
absolutely. Yeah, you have to tell me where. Yeah.
I have no idea. This came from Africa. It was a gift to me from my wife's sister.
Okay.
The most, you
know
would
where
never
the
expect
stone
something like
is?
that to happen. I mean, she comes to see my wife, not me. But I mean, there might be a bit of me in it because I'm family. But
He amazes me.
anyway, so she was working for the Red Cross, and I think she bought this in
Wow. You know what it's called?
Nigeria or something. Well, it's a tongue drum.
Tongue drum, okay. Tongue drum. I love
Here,
it.
want another one? Here, you want some notes?
You just said
I'm sure you
that
look that up on the
Vail
internet.
Craft Fair last year, you said somebody was selling.
Oh, really?
That you can have wind drum.
Thank you.
It is drum that was given to me. It's also from wood. It was given to me in New Zealand. And I was going from school to school to allow the children to play it, but they couldn't destroy it. One time someone put some corners, and it is still there, we cannot take it out. But it is very special drum. You inspire me to play it more. I sometimes have been carrying it in my day pack. It was a little bit bigger than this. It's a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
It's from lighter wood, and they have been using it also with wind, blowing wind. I also got something from them that is built by bamboo.
Oh yeah.
It is sort of like bamboo sticks, dialed in different dimensions.
Like a pan pipe.
Yeah, no, it is, you can actually distribute it. I have to carry it here.
Yeah.
One time.
Ankle.
Sure.
What do you need?
You can distribute to to every person one,
Needing that.
and they can play,
Wow, great.
or maybe two. And they put it also by the wind on the entrance of the building. And they allow the winds to play it.
Right, that's nice.
And so people are usually asking when they come to my place, what is this? For heaven's sake.
Yeah.
Over there from bamboos. And this is called kamplung. It's called kamplung. And it is very special energy. I would like to invite you to look at my instruments.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
Yeah, it would be very interesting for you.
Yeah.
So I have been very much enjoying, especially the way you carry the rhythm from within. It is not coming from you, from outside. It is coming from within you. And the rhythms are within you.
Yeah, well, I guess that's what it's translated when I play, because I compose what I do, so it's got to come from within.
That's exactly, it is only from within.
Yeah, so I feel everything very intimately what I play. I still make mistakes, you know.
But doesn't exist mistake.
No, well, not for you maybe, but for a musician it does. Yeah. I mean, I try to, you know, when I set up a piece, I string rhythms together in a coherent fashion. I want to make the bridges between each rhythm coherent and clean. And, you know, if I forget what the next move is, I'm thrown off and it sounds crappy. Out of control, you know.
That's what it is.
Yeah, wild, yeah. A wild thrashing to try to make sense, try to come back into touch, yeah.
Hey Paul, I just wanted to make a comment if you guys are done. I don't know.
You bet.
I noticed that Madame Blavatsky,
Yeah.
more and more that I hear that, I realize that it's totally connected with quantum mechanics, and it's also connected with a lot of free energy discoveries about the source field. There's one field that everything can tap into holographically, fractally.
Right.
And every time I hear Madame Blavatsky, I keep hearing references to amazing concepts in quantum mechanics.
Right.
Yeah.
Certainly Madame Blavatsky is for me great trainer.
Oh, absolutely.
In the world and
absolutely, and I need to read more.
It is interesting. I used to teach even music. I used to teach Suzuki music. But what came to me one day, we just sit down with the student, 4-year-old. We just sit down and played. We started on the black keys. And there was not control. Control, it's out. It was only consciousness.
Yeah.
And this is the way how I love to play.
Yeah.
Therefore, it is people are going to deep meditations, and I don't do anything, only just allow what comes.
Yeah.
And it is good to do it with other people.
Mm.
So I might one time come and do some sharing here, but it is without control. Everything has to go. And you go to the universe with the music. And you go to the listening only. And when someone plays with me, they say, I don't know how to play. I said, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Therefore, you know how to listen. And you are not yet totally deaf. And so that's how I feel music. Now, I cannot play even what I used to play, pathetic sonatas and whatever. This I can't play. But I play this kind of music. This is coming from consciousness. And this is what you open for me to go, and I would like to invite you. It would be interesting for you.
Yeah, bring
but
it along.
I might come and offer it to you, a certain essence of it. But I hear music of the spheres from childhood. I hear all the time music. And certain places I hear it stronger. And when I was in that Death Cafe, this was incredible night. It was something happening with us. Michael had been there with me. And many others, I don't know how many. And it was something happening that was in such pitch that I couldn't hear anything else than the sound of that inner sound. So it was very different energy of the whole group. It went to totally different sphere. And it was created by all of us. It's not one person creating it. It's all of us with consciousness. Letting go and listen.
Yeah.
It's not, this is where the music starts. Let go of anything and listen.
Yeah, awesome. Good reminder.
Yeah.
I just wanted to mention that you can Google, you can see YouTubes on Madame Blavatsky.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Yeah, yeah,
okay,
yeah.
awesome. I
So you can
didn't even look her up.
I got incredible card for that.
Nice.
You can see everything on YouTube.
Yeah, that's pretty much. And I just wanted to mention, one thing you reminded me of is why we're here. And
Yeah.
I had a cat, a beautiful white, what they call flame tip Siamese. And I took her to a psychic. Well, actually, it was he, but anyway. I asked, because I had had a dream before I got the cat. This cat in shadow walked towards me and said, "My name is Belle, and I'm from Tibet."
Wow.
Wow.
And I went, okay. And then, so then we got this cat, and I didn't know if it was Belle or not, but it was a wonderful cat. Had it, lived to be 20 years old.
Wow.
But anyway, I took it to this cat psychic, and I said, well, is this Belle? And she said, yeah, this cat in a past life was a Buddhist monk.
Mm.
What? That doesn't happen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it does.
And I said, well, what the heck is this cat? What did this human being come into it, incarnate into a cat? And she said, for the experience. Just for the experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you could see it in terms of a Buddhist monk because he's got there, right? Probably.
Yeah.
And so it's the ultimate in humility and also some sort of exploration into that realm of the cat, just almost like for fun.
Just
eh?
for fun.
Yeah, you're meditating all day long, just hanging out with good people that take care of you, and you don't got to do anything.
I guess you get the choice.
Well, there's the possibility his mind got in the way all the time, so he said, this time I'll just come as a cat.
Yes.
I won't be there.
There
Right.
is, that you don't
They
have
seem
to.
enlightened anyway. So.
I think so. That's what I was going to say, that if you hang around animals, there's something very enlightened about them. If they're not abused, they accept what is, they're peaceful, and they give us, if someone wants to serve humans, come as an animal that's a pet.
Yeah.
And there's so many gifts to give people.
Yeah.
So it's not, we think of them as way beneath us,
Yeah.
but in some ways,
No, they calibrate
Right.
very high.
Yeah.
Yes.
If
they
I-
can.
Mhm.
They
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you for this. This
Yeah.
is
Oh,
so
really
nice.
great.
Yeah.
It's my pleasure.
I want to also say that Paul has decided that he wants to be transparent and put his stuff on YouTube, right? Like, okay. So if anybody wanted to watch this again, get more out of it, I liked a lot of what you said. So Paul's talks will be on YouTube. He's one of the speakers who's decided to be on YouTube.
How do we find it?
Well,
What-
you know what?
You just type in his
You know,
name.
It takes
you
a
could
while,
go
right?
through the website, but it's kind of a bit complex, I guess, or
It'll
unnecessary.
be like
So I
up in
got
about a month
Dan
or
to create
2
me a
weeks.
link
2 weeks, okay.
through
So
email.
mine must be up already.
So if you want,
You're fast.
I could just email it to you and you use the link and you're in.
Because they're never done.
Thing for non-technical.
Yeah, exactly, which is why I asked Dan to do it for me.
Yeah, and then Paul, you can just email the link.
Yeah.
Couldn't you just do his name?
You could. Because when I put in his YouTube video, I put in Paul's name and the name of the talk. If you remember the name of the talk, you can search for that on YouTube.
Right.
Who else is on YouTube?
Ashley was okay with having hers on, so hers is not locked. Like
What about Jerry Levinson?
Jerry wants his on. Jerry's is available as well. So Jerry's Paul.
Under his name,
Yeah.
and Ash under your name.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great.
And nothing to do with Unity, right?
No, it just has their name.
I
So
really look forward to seeing yours again because of everything you read. It was so deep and so profound. Like I want to review it.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, can I send you a presentation that I did before on the tarot?
Absolutely,
Because I
I'd
think
love
you might
it.
be interested in that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
the tarot is
Well, just
wonderful.
make sure that you give me your email addresses
Oh,
so
the
that I can
tarot
do that.
one, yeah.
Parent too? Okay.
I missed it.
A tale of Thoreau.
Right, yes. Oh, thank you. Wonderful. Yeah, great. That's fun.
Very much coming from within, and you have been going so deep, and also with the playing too. You said it all in the playing.
Right.
I don't need to listen.
Right.
Yeah. So it was
All of the clap trap.
yeah.
The words unnecessary.
I would like to start with the reading, if I may,
Okay.
if you allow me.
You bet. Go ahead.